This is Nikki Collins.
Jordan Canada.
Essence Carson.
Liz Candace.
Imani Media Stafford.
And you're listening to WNBA Weekly.
What's up, WNBA fans? Kyle Haywood here with WNBA Weekly, bringing you one of our first video podcasts ever. For those of you listening audio, we're excited to have you along for the ride, but we also have a video available if you want to check out our YouTube channel, just WNBA Weekly. We'll be right there. You can actually watch this podcast live on video. So what's up to the rest of you to all of you who are now checking it out on video, who were listening on audio earlier. Hi, how are you? I am joined by my good friend Jason Snow tonight. How's it going, Jason?
Dude, I am doing so good. Excited to sort of test out this new format. We kind of hinted at it. We recently did that live feed for the WNBA draft. That went really well. We got really great feedback, I thought, from it, and great participation. So we wanted to try this out, see if a video version of our pod is something that you guys would enjoy. So let us know what you think at WNBA Weekly on Twitter. And we like it. We think it'll give us a chance to do our regular audio version of the pod. That's not going away. But what this will do is if you have the time or you have the interest in watching it, we'll be able to throw highlights up as we're talking. We'll be able to throw up graphics, maybe make it a little bit more interesting, a little more bang for your buck, which you don't pay much for the pod unless you're on Patreon, in which case we appreciate you very much. But yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Absolutely, dude. I'm pretty excited. It's kind of a fun. You may experience a little bit of growing pains along with us, but hey, we're trying to add some different elements to our coverage of the league. So we'll see. This is just one more thing that we're giving a shot. So if you guys like it, go ahead. If you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and give it a like and give us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from in the YouTube comments below. And then also, if you want to, let us know what you think about it. Give us some feedback. We'd be happy, send us a message, whatever you want. But Jason, dude, we got a lot to cover today. There's a bunch of stories that have happened here after the WNBA draft that are just kind of all over the place. Now, we broke down last week with Anila at W Hoops blogger, for those of you who want to give her a follow on Twitter. We broke down with her some draft grades for the WNBA draft, and there's been a lot happen. So let's kind of hop right in. First of all, today, the day that we're recording this, not the day that you guys are listening, but today it was announced that CBS Sports is actually picking up 40 WNBA games for this upcoming season. That's amazing.
Love it.
I believe I'd have to pull up the exact numbers. I believe ESPN was planning on showing 16 regular season games. Now, of course, ESPN is doing their coverage of the WNBA finals, so that will play into it. But if they show all not just the finals, but the whole WNBA playoffs, I guess. So
the playoffs.
But if that's the case, with all the WNBA playoffs plus their 16 regular games, this essentially doubles the amount of times that the WNBA is going to be on television this year. With the 16 regular from ESPN plus all the playoffs, 40. That's insane. 40 regular season games on CBS Sports. I'm super excited. Jason, what were your initial thoughts when you heard this news?
I love it. It's good news. I'm excited about it. One of the things we've talked about on the show is the need for us to, for the WNBA to grow beyond ESPN. ESPN kind of had ownership rights over the WNBA broadcast, and as such, they kind of just sat on it. Occasionally, they'd throw us on like ESPN2 or ESPN3 streaming. I remember one of my frustrations is that they finally had a good game. I can't remember who it was. It might have been like Connecticut versus Washington or something last year. And they played it at like 2:30 on a Tuesday, which I thought there was some good things because I remember they had like school field trips there. And there were a lot of good things about that experience in the stadium. But one of the things I love about this is these 40 games are primetime or weekend slots. So like these 40 games are not going to be 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. They're all going to be primetime games. They're all going to be weekend slots. I think that's big. Getting more eyes on the product is one of the things we've talked about for a long time. The criticism being that the reason nobody watches the WNBA is because they don't like it. Whereas I think the more accurate description is nobody watches the WNBA because there's nowhere to watch it. And this is helping fix that problem. Big fan. Just as long as I can still watch the replay on my WNBA League Pass right after the game, like you can with the ESPN ones, I'm going to be a happy camper. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Kyle?
No, I'm super excited. The fact that they picked up 40 games kind of blew my mind because, like I said, for those who, for me, I'll give you an example. I have League Pass, but a lot of times it blacks out the Las Vegas Aces games for me because I was in their geographical footprint, I guess, and so I had a hard time catching as many Aces games last season as I wanted to. But the Aces, I think, are playing in like 6 or 7 games on CBS Sports this season, so that alone's going to help me be able to catch some more of their games. But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm really, really stoked that CBS Sports has picked this up. It's a big national network that a lot of people have. For those of you who are looking for a way, let's say maybe your current provider doesn't have CBS Sports, I'll give you a hint. And they're not sponsoring the show or anything, but I picked up YouTube TV. And YouTube TV is it's much more affordable. You got unlimited DVR, and it includes CBS Sports on there for free. Well, not for free; you're paying for it, but obviously it includes CBS Sports as part of it. So you've got all your ESPN, all your CBS. You got CBS Sports and several others, which means all of your WNBA games that are going to be nationally televised is all there. Plus, picking up League Pass for only $17, as always, is the way to go. So
the best deal in sports.
Seriously, I'm super stoked. Everybody's been getting their renewals, and I haven't got my renewal email yet, so I'm nervous. Maybe it's because I didn't sign up for it till closer to the season, and maybe they do it on like the year whenever you sign up. I don't know. I haven't got my email renewal yet, and I'm getting nervous, thinking like, okay, like, do I need to renew or what? So anyway, we'll see. But yeah, I will definitely make sure that I think all 4 of us have that every single year, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But dude, Jason, so just overall, obviously this is big. I think this is bigger than a lot of people are making it. The fact that 40 games are going on national television is just massive. It's phenomenal. I'm super excited. Do you have any last thoughts on the CBS Sports announcement?
No, just to hit an old note that we've hit a lot of times. The idea that another organization would get involved. Steve's a big fan of bringing up UFC and its move over to Fox, and what that did for the UFC, because previously it had been sat on, and instead what they did is they said, okay, let's give this the coverage it deserves. Let's hype it up the way it deserves. Let's give it the advertising. Let's put the money in and invest in it up front. And then you see how the UFC explodes over the last decade or so, however long it's been since the UFC really kind of made that switch and has been exploding. And the idea being that you could see the same thing for women's basketball. If you get another organization involved besides ESPN who's willing to invest, who's willing to throw up games, even if they're not sure what the market's going to be, how big it's going to be. And if this transfers over to having some games on CBS primetime, not Sportsnet, but just CBS, this could be huge, and if you give it the advertising, give it the respect, and hype it up the way that it deserves to be hyped up, I think you'll get more eyes on the product. And so I think this is big. We've been very critical of ESPN sitting on the WNBA and not really utilizing that asset that they've been paying for. So hopefully this marks a change in the way the league is covered.
Okay, I love it, dude. Couldn't agree more. Some more news that we've got right now that again that broke today is a trade between if there were 2 teams in the league, Jason, that you would think are just best friends, the best of friends that aren't necessarily rivals at all, who would you say it would be?
Oh, you know what? I'm pretty sure that like everyone from the Sparks is like best buddies with everyone from the Lynx. They like have sleepovers and just of course, it's the best rivalry in the WNBA, if not sports.
If you're a fan of the Sparks, you're a fan of the Lynx. Everybody if you love one team, you love both teams. Guys, this rivalry between the Sparks and the Lynx just got like the next tier, like the next chapter of this rivalry just got written today. Odyssey Sims is getting traded for Alexis Jones. So Sims on her way to Minnesota now. Insane, Jason. I'm blown away that we're now going to see Odyssey playing in a Lynx jersey. My eyes, I saw the announcement with a picture of her wearing the like. It felt like my eyes were playing a trick on me. I was like, huh, wait, what? Huh? What?
Yeah.
It was weird, dude. It was weird. What do you think about this?
It's an interesting move. I think there's a lot behind it. My first gut reaction, I'll take off my commentator hat and put on my fan hat. As a Sparks fan, I'm not super ecstatic about the move. I think Odyssey Sims was a good part of our team. I also saw on Twitter somebody say that Odyssey Sims maybe wasn't living up to her potential in LA, which honestly I can see that being the case. But she was a huge part of the Sparks being competitive for the championship for the last few years. So I'm sad to see her go. But this does make way perhaps for another trade that's coming. I know, Kyle, you've got some theories on that one.
I think this is it. Everything that LA's doing right now, I like to look through the lens of how does this help them get Cambage, right? Like everything, the draft, any signings, any trades, like all of it. I'm like, oh, is this one step closer to getting Liz Cambage? And this one is like, like look at the cap space that they just freed up. Obviously, Minnesota's got a little bit of cap space to play with. They've lost a couple of their big, max type players to retirement or stepping away from the league for a short time. So yeah, they've got the cap space to pay someone like an Odyssey Sims to come in and fulfill a role that they're in need of right now. That guard backcourt is a little bit, it's a little bit in need right now with Waylon retiring, Maya Moore stepping away from basketball for a period of time. This is big, and Odyssey Sims is like, man, what a player to get in Minnesota. They still have star power, right? You still have plenty of great talent there in Minnesota, and yet here they're signing Odyssey Sims. Like, good move, Minnesota. And here is LA just simply, they look like they're kind of mortgaging a good chunk of their talent and kind of putting pieces in place so that Liz Cambage can come and play in LA. So I just think it's one step further in the Liz Cambage to the LA Sparks kind of a giant odyssey of a story that not to have too much of a play on words, but an odyssey of a story that we're seeing right now. So this all sounds really horrible to Alexis Jones fans. But I mean, solid player. But I've got Odyssey Sims, who I think would start on just about any team in the league. That's a big trade, big time swing in talent there. So it'd be interesting to see what comes out of this. Yeah,
absolutely. I think the winners in this, by and far, are the Lynx in terms of this particular trade.
Right. If you look at it under in a closed off, if you look at it under a microscope,
look at it just this trade, what's going on. Odyssey Sims, I think she comes with more experience, she comes with a little bit of a better resume, and I think she's going to, like you said, she's going to do things for the Lynx that the Lynx need done, in terms of scoring, in terms of kind of the backcourt. I think she's going to do what the Lynx want out of her. I think Alexis Jones is still kind of a development player. I think she's in her third or maybe fourth year this coming year. But she's good. She's a good bench player. I don't know that I'd have her in the starting five in Los Angeles. So I think she is kind of playing a background role, kind of a supporting role of the team there. But really, I mean, you pointed it out. This is Liz Cambage prep. They're getting the team ready, and it's a gamble. I mean, it's hard to say that getting Liz Cambage to the Sparks would be a bad move. There's a lot of reason to believe now with Breanna Stewart with her Achilles tendon tear, that Liz Cambage is one of the front runners for MVP this year. If she has a year like she had last year, she's a front runner for that. How can you bring in the MVP and not have it be a good deal? I'm a little bit worried. They might be gambling, and they're getting the best talent in exchange for team dynamics and team composition. I'm afraid that the Sparks are going to mortgage out all of their synergy with the players that they're letting go and with the moving around that they're having to do to get the cap space to bring Liz Cambage in. And I could see them getting in a superstar and then being a mediocre to upper mediocre team, being a 5, a 6, or 7 seed going into the playoffs, because they kind of got rid of all their synergy and their team composition. But it's an interesting balance, because you also don't want to be a team without a star, because that's what Connecticut is. That's the most synergistic team in the league with no star. Whereas LA might be a team with 2 stars and not as much synergy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, LA dealing with a new coach and everything. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of product they put out and what their strategy is going forward. So,
Jason, not to complete, but let's continue on with the discussion of, actually, with both the Lynx and the Sparks moving forward. We've got a couple of retirements to discuss. First, let's go to Minnesota. Let's go to Lindsay Whalen. We knew, as all of you are pretty well aware, if you didn't know she retired, you've been where have you been for the last literally the last year? In her farewell season last year in 2018. But the Minnesota Lynx plan to retire her jersey, retire her number 13, hang it up in the rafters, and they're doing it against, guess who? The Sparks. They're going to do it against the Sparks on June 8th when the two teams play on, they're actually going to be playing on ABC, and so it'll be kind of nationally broadcast game that they're going to retire her jersey. She's the first Lynx player to have her jersey retired, Jason. So what do you think about this? I want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, obviously, Lindsay Whalen had a historic career in the WNBA. I wish I was more prepared. I don't have her stats and her records pulled up to sort of run through all of her achievements. But now she's moved on to a very successful career. But she's a big part of why the Lynx have been such a successful team. I think maybe because she's a little bit more famous. She had the Nike ad and stuff like that. Maya Moore's been talked about more recently within the last couple of years as a big part of that. But I mean, Lindsay Whalen was such a key to that team. You saw it last year when she was kind of split roles. You saw the impact that had on the team and their ability to perform. And she's just a long time, obvious. She's going to be a shoe-in Hall of Fame inductee whenever that time comes. And we wish her the best in her career. And this is a great honor to her. I have nothing but positive things to say. As a Sparks fan, I still have nothing but positive things to say about Lindsay Whalen. Kyle, what do you have? Yeah.
No, totally. I know that Steve tweeted out a pretty good tribute to her previously about how, when his son grows up and as he has children, he wants them to play basketball like Lindsay Whalen plays basketball. 15-year WNBA career, holds the record of all-time wins in the WNBA. She has more wins in the league than anybody else. She's second in postseason wins, second only to her former teammate Rebecca Brunson. Third all-time in assists in the league, 6-time All-Star, 8 finals appearances, 4 championships, Olympic gold medals in 2012, 2016. Just across the board, Lindsay Whalen is just an impressive athlete. So excited for her. Nobody that deserves it more than someone who, played in Minnesota and just, across the board from college to the WNBA and now even coaching in the state. Probably nobody that means more to Minnesota basketball, in my opinion, and that would include Kevin Garnett. It's in my opinion, I think Lindsay Whalen means more to Minnesota basketball than just about anybody else that I can think of. So nobody else I'd rather see be the first to have their jersey retired. I'm excited for her. Nothing but congratulations to a great career. And as Jason said, an obvious first ballot Hall of Famer when the time comes. So not to be done with retirements, Jason, but Cappie Pondexter has also announced that she will be retiring and that she's hanging up hanging up her sneakers, no longer going to be playing. What a career Cappie Pondexter has had. If you were to ask somebody, it's probably because of the uniqueness of a name like Cappie Pondexter. I feel like she was a name that just very kind of sitting on the outside of women's basketball, a lot of people would be able to recognize a name, Cappie Pondexter, number two overall pick in the 2006 draft. 13 years in the league, 7-time All-Star, 2-time WNBA champion. Just a phenomenal career. She played with, she started out her career in Phoenix, went to New York after that for several years. Obviously, toward the end of her career, she was playing there for 3 years in Chicago. 2019 was kind of an odd year. When she went to LA, I remember all of us thinking, oh man, this is like when Kevin Durant went and joined the Golden State Warriors. It was, they were building this super team. and then just I wasn't, we weren't behind closed doors or whatever that happened in LA, but something just was off. Something didn't work with her being there in LA. So obviously she was traded midseason, finished up her career by playing half a season there in Indiana with the Fever. But Jason, thoughts on Cappie's decision to retire now and kind of looking back at her career? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, another one along the ranks of Lindsay Whalen, longtime player in the league, dynamic scorer. If you watch some of her old highlight videos, I believe in post I've added some sort of the side of our talking heads right now, so you're kind of watching them as we speak. Dynamic scorer, came in clutch a lot of times when players needed him, and somebody that really left a mark on the game. Like you said, Pondexter's kind of unique name. It might have had something to do with her name recognition. But so did her game. She created quite a good highlight reel. So obviously a storied career. Sad to see her go, but excited for whatever she does next. Hopefully it's basketball related, and we can kind of keep tabs on her as she goes through her career. And not an unlikely Hall of Fame nominee as well. So it'll be interesting. We bid her farewell and wish her the best in what she does next.
Absolutely. There's a really cool thing if you check out WNBA.com. There's actually an article on the homepage that's Cappie Pondexter's decorated career in photos, and you can kind of see her from draft night all the way through toward the end of her career. It's really fun to go through and just kind of kind of look back on her career. So make sure you go and check that out on WNBA.com. Jason, before we take off, before we wrap things up here at the end of the show, we do have obviously a little bit of a little more serious news that we want to address. Jason, let's go ahead and maybe cut to the announcement that Coach Dan Hughes made of the Seattle Storm just recently, and let's take a look at that together.
Hello, Storm fans. This is Coach Dan Hughes, and I'm joined here by my wife, Mary. A few weeks ago, I underwent emergency appendectomy. During the procedure, the doctors found a form of cancer. After consulting with team doctor Adam Porsche and the oncology team at Swedish, we have formulated a treatment plan that will likely include a surgery in the coming weeks. While there are still some unknowns, I wanted you to be the first to know. My family and I are thankful for your support, and we are looking forward to seeing you at the games this summer.
So, Jason, thoughts? Dan Hughes announcing that he's got cancer. Looks like it's hopefully nothing that's gonna keep him off the sidelines for too long. They did announce that they're going to be performing a surgery. You're kind of the medical expert, not to say diagnose him or tell us what his future is, but I just want to hear what was your initial gut reaction and what were your thoughts as this announcement was made from Coach Hughes.
Warning, I'm not a doctor. I will be in about 8 years, but not a doctor right now. But obviously, there's no such thing as good cancer. Our thoughts and prayers are with him, as well as our cheers. We're going to be keeping an eye on this as close as we can. We'll try to keep you guys informed, and also just trying to send him some positive vibe. Like I said, some thoughts and prayers. And in all honesty, as I look at this, it's one of those things. A lot of times when you hear stories like this, whether you're a person of faith or not, it's hard to imagine that he goes in for an emergency appendectomy and they find the cancer. It seems like it's a blessing, a little bit of a miracle that they were able to find it. They do surgery on metastasized cancers, but not as often because a lot of times it's spread and you've got multiple polyps and things like that. So it's harder to track down. So the fact that they're going in for surgery means that it might not have metastasized yet. I don't think he's publicized what stage the cancer is, which would be interesting to know. But if it is an earlier stage, if it hasn't metastasized, this might be something that he might be free of here in the near future. Obviously, he's going to have follow-up visits and testing just to make sure that it's truly gone. But it could be something that is very survivable at this point, just based off of the little information we have. So very interested to see where it goes from here. And like I said, we're pulling for him and cheering for him as much as we can.
Absolutely. So nothing but best wishes, man. It's been a couple weeks of tough news in Seattle. It really has been. So. But again, nothing. I know everybody's throwing their support behind Coach Hughes and his family. You saw his wife there with him during that announcement. Obviously, with Bree Stewart's injury. It's been a tough couple of weeks for Storm fans and for the WNBA in general. Anytime that you've got a member of the WNBA family that goes through something like each of those players or each of those individuals have, it's tough. So so nothing but best wishes to the Seattle Storm family up there from us here at WNBA Weekly. But Jason, why don't you go ahead and go through the gambit, let everybody know where they can find us if they aren't already, and give us kind of the lowdown.
So go ahead and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a subscribe, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, ... If there's a pod grabber you like that we're not on, please let us know, because we think we're on all of them at this point. And give us a subscribe. If there's a rating system, if there's a way to leave a comment, we'd really appreciate hearing your feedback. And also those 5-star reviews do help us get higher in the search results, especially with iTunes. So that is always appreciated. Social media at WNBA Weekly on Twitter and on Facebook. You can connect with us there. Once again, we only put out this show once a week for the most part. Occasionally, like during finals week, we'll do a burst, but for the most part, we only do one episode a week, and that means that the news that breaks in the middle, that's where you're going to find it. We're going to be tweeting and retweeting anything that we find on a constant basis, so we appreciate the community we've got there. And if you look to support the show in a more financial way, there's 2 ways to do that. There is Patreon, patreon.com, I believe, /WNBA Weekly. You can find the link on our Twitter feed as our pinned tweet. As well as you can get some of our merch, our Be a Nobody shirts and sweatshirts and everything else that we've got on there. Those proceeds go directly towards buying tickets for first-time WNBA fans. So that's something exciting that we're looking forward to doing this year. And you can check us out at storeenvy.com/WNBA Weekly. Again, that's storeenvy with 1 E. I don't know why they did it. It just makes it hard for me to describe it online. But if you're watching the video version, I'll go ahead and throw the text at the bottom of the screen so you can actually just see it, and maybe even a link in the description of the video. So, but yeah, that's the way you can connect with us. We love engaging with you guys. Once again, if you have any thoughts, comments, feedback about the show, especially about the video format that we're trying out for the first time, go ahead and let us know. We'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. Jason, I want to, anytime we get a 5-star review on iTunes, I want to, if there's a written review, I want to include that and let you guys know. Maybe we'll throw it up on the YouTube channel as well. I'll see if I can screenshot that and get it to Jason. But Ali DK left us a 5-star review. She says, the title says, "Amazing basketball podcast. As a huge UConn women's basketball fan looking to expand and get into the WNBA more, this podcast has been the best. The hosts are extremely knowledgeable and all have different perspectives. I can guarantee the different perspectives. We'll see about our predictions are usually pretty bad." She continues on. She says, "They speak well to the strengths and weaknesses of each team and are super entertaining while doing so. They even called Katie Lou Samuelson going to the Chicago Sky, which I didn't see in any mock draft beside theirs." There you go, Logan. There's your again.
But one time Logan was right.
Right. She continues on. She says, "Kudos. I've only been listening for a little while, but I'm hooked. Definitely recommend this pod for any women's basketball fan. Can't wait to see what they put out in the future." Thank you so much, Ali DK, for the 5-star review. Again, if you want us to read your review and have it posted anytime, on our next episode, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. We're super excited about that. And honestly, we don't do it not just to promote our show. We do it because if our show gets out there more and other WNBA coverage gets out there more, then more people are going to get into the league. And when more people get into the league, more money gets into the league. The players get paid more. And just overall, these players that we truly consider the best in the world will get better coverage and they'll get better compensation for what they're doing, and we love it. We love the WNBA. Absolutely super stoked for all of this. So go ahead, spread the good word. Obviously, as Jason mentioned, our Be a Nobody shirts or I'm a Nobody shirts that we have on our store Envy. If you purchase those, the proceeds from those actually that doesn't come to us at all. We're using that money, all the money that we receive from those will actually go toward purchasing tickets for people who have not attended a WNBA game yet. So if you are interested in helping what we consider like the WNBA scholarship to help get tickets for people who haven't attended games yet, and kind of getting them converted to the league, go ahead and buy a t-shirt that says I'm a nobody, because as everybody likes to say, nobody watches the WNBA. So be a nobody with us, grab a shirt. But Jason, any last thoughts, any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, Kyle, last thing I'd like to say, once again, you brought up the fact that a lot of what we do is to grow the WNBA. This show, the reason we're putting it on video now and trying to get you to go over to YouTube and check us out, it's not because we think that we look good. Quite frankly, Logan's the only one that looks decent, and he's the one who's not on video in both of the last two things we've done. But with Faces for Podcasting, as Steve said last time on our live broadcast, this isn't to become YouTube famous. This isn't because we want to improve ourselves. Really, we wanted to put out a video version of the pod because it gives us the chance to show highlights. It gives us a chance because there aren't networks out there doing half-hour highlight pieces of the WNBA like you get for the NFL or the NBA or the MLB. So really, there's not a video format where you can go and you can catch highlights, you can catch up, you can see what's going on, get analysis. And so we're doing our best to provide that to you, and that's why we're doing this. It's not self-aggrandizement as much as it is a desire to really get quality coverage for a league that we think deserves it. So.
Absolutely. Well said, Jason. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and give a like, give us a subscribe, comment, let us know where you're watching from. But for WNBA Weekly, I'm Kyle Haywood.
And I'm Jason Snow.
And we got you next time.